my like lazy snack is, as much as it's fortified, it's still decent macronutrient profile, is an up and go.
Yeah.
Like my quick, like
Yeah.
instead of, it's like my blood sugar's dropping and I'm starting to feel a bit rough, but I can't eat right now.
Yeah.
Grab an up and go instead of a cookie
100%.
or the fucking assorted cream pack that's in the cupboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really subscribe to the bastardizing of processed food. I think what's more important is just like averting your attention to options that you may have access to at the right time.
Yeah. Because it's just stuff that doesn't make you feel like shit.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it's like, if, like you said, it's like getting the up and go, you've identified that there's like a really big hole in the day where you actually can't sit down, have a main meal, whatever it is, work commitments, life commitments, whatever. So then it's like, if you're one of those people that also bastardizes like processed food, that makes that hole even harder to fill.
Yeah.
You know, and then you are also restricting choices that align with the goal at the same time. So you're just like in a stage of someone with like friction, as removing it as the goal. It's like, just pick something.
Yeah.
You know, it's
so I'll have my afternoon snack at the moment, which is usually post training, which helps.
Yeah.
Will be an up and go and a jelly fruit cup.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, sure, it's a little bit of sugar. I'm also an 85 kilo male that trains.
A jelly fruit
now
cup would have like 20 grams of carbs in it, maybe.
Now 7 days a week. It's like, chill. So, and it gets a serve of fruit in. The core meals are really good on the vegetable side.
Yeah, you easily get 1 to 2 serves of veggies in there. There's way more than 100 grams of veggies or 150 grams of veggies in some of those.
So micronutrient wise, I'm pretty Gucci. And even weekends, like I prioritize it. Trying to eat extra fruit and stuff as well when it's in the house. So just like lots of reduced friction stuff, better decisions. And I think like what you were touching on there is like, people will say up and go is highly processed and it's got lots of sugar in it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well the Energize one has 20 grams of protein. So when you don't have the up and go,
what do you have?
Because it's too processed. An hour later, what do you eat?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, whatever you
you're
can
fucking
stuff
starving.
into your face.
Yeah, because you're like, I need calories as quickly as possible, and it happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
the process thing kind of just kills me a little bit, because it's just like, how far do you go?
So
what's the what does processed mean? And then it's like, how many processes are you going to allow for you to consider that a food to eat?
Correct. Yeah.
Like, it's a slippery slope. It's like, rather, there's foods that should take the forefront of our decisions because they're going to increase the likelihood of us facilitating health, physiological function, our goals, and all those things. And most of those are like, in as raw a form as its natural state as possible.
It's probably good. Yeah.
But it's not necessarily saying that like you can't have a cereal, something that sits on a shelf for however long and it's got all of these things in it. It's like, it's just a fucking slippery slope, man, going down that approach, especially when you're struggling with nutrition. It's like, well, I'm not saying you're struggling, but it's like when there is friction, adding in more variables starts to decrease the likelihood of the success of the plant. And it's like, we talk about how simple nutrition is. It's only simple in terms of like the numbers and stuff. Yeah. It's as simple in terms of the mechanism.
Psychology's not.
The psychology is literally the most complicated thing, because we're humans, we socialize over food. It's a really big component of our life. Like, there were thousands of years where we didn't have it in abundance. That still plays, havoc on our decision making when it's not around.
Yeah.
So all of those things do start to, I guess, influence people's decisions.
Yeah.
So when you understand that, you're like, maybe let's not worry too much about the processed food. Yeah. Let's just think about, where we can, getting your 5 serves of veg, 2 pieces of fruit, and maybe your 3 to 4 servings of protein per day.
Yeah, and there's a few points that I would probably spin off that as well. Like, we just had the discussion, eggs are fucking great for you.
Yeah.
They make me feel like shit.
Yeah.
So I don't eat them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I can, like you said, eat ice cream okay, or whatever, up and goes, sit really well in my stomach. I have no problem with them. So that is important. It's like food that agrees with you is important, because everyone wants to talk about fucking gut health. And it's like, what food do you eat that doesn't make you feel shit?
Yeah.
Eat it.
Yeah. For my guys that are listening now, they'll be nodding their heads, because I say that all the time. I'm like, especially like for the ones that obviously are like, competing and stuff, I'm like, we need the foods that like you at the moment. We don't need any other foods right now. I don't care if you've eaten them in the past and whatever up to this point. It's like the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's just food where you eat, you feel like it goes through, it digests, it doesn't sit in your stomach. you move on, and you can eat again.
Yeah.
You know,
I made mashed potato the other night for Amy and myself, and I always leave the skin on. Yeah. Especially in the thermo, you can still get it real.
Yeah, like soft and consistent.
Real nice.
Yeah, yeah.
But Amy hadn't eaten it for a while, and she was fucked. Like her guts like blew up.
Yeah, because so much fiber.
For a day or so, she's like, I just haven't eaten that much fiber in a while. She's been having rice and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but whole potato skin on, that's great, right? It's like, yeah, okay.
In a certain amount of, well, exposing anyone to a bolus dose of food, any type of food, after a period of not having it is always going to challenge the digestive system. It's like people that, like when they go on a health kick, which is awesome, never going to, like tell people not to. But when they eat the foods that like, they would deem like, just like a luxury or just like bad for some people, which is, you know, whatever. They go, oh, it's like my body just doesn't like it anymore. Yeah. It's like, it's not that it doesn't like it. It's that it's not prepared to digest the food down because the exposure's been less over a period of time. Yeah. It's like, increase the exposure and, in 9 times out of 10, that's going to sort itself out.
Increase your exposure of fucking banana and see what happens.
Yeah, that's it.
You still shit yourself.
Yeah, and even like whenever food introductions come back in, and we do this like post in the recovery phase, like of our pre-contest again, like just as an extreme example, it's always like pick a wide variety of things in small amounts and see which one hits and which one doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's like let's grade why it hasn't. Yep. And then can we play around with that? Is an even smaller exposure to it what's necessary? Do we need it more frequently in those smaller amounts? Can we grade it? Blah, blah, blah. Is it valuable? Do you need to have, I don't know, whatever it is, like fucking oranges? Like, do you need to have those? Can you get by without them? Like, is there other foods that we can kind of gravitate towards? Yeah. All of those things are important when you're going through a phase of restriction and then, trying to get back to like a normal, kind of wide variety diet, because they're the things that happen when you're trying to get in shape. Like, you want to simplify things.
Yeah, you eat 14 foods.
That's it. Yeah. It's like, no matter, you can control it as much as you like. It's like the most success, I would argue, the most success comes from the people that eat the least amount of food groups. Yep. Over a period of time. It's not to say like you're never allowed to eat, oily fish and crustaceans and fucking all these different grains and whatever. It's just like, realistically, if I said to you, before the run, I'm going to get you into the best condition of your life from a body fat perspective. You're eating rice, lean meat, green vegetables. Yeah. And you're probably going to have a little bit of fats from peanut butter and stuff.
That's it.
And you're probably just going to eat protein powder.
Done.
Really?
Done.
Oats.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of stuff. Like, I look at like even my traditional habitual eating over the last 3 to 6 months: rice flour, protein powder, meat, rice, veggies, eggs, bread. 7 foods. Yeah. And then, you can chuck in a little bit of stuff here and there, but it's like there's 7 foods that lay the core of fruit as well. 8.
Yeah.
8 foods that lay. So that even just like the people out there like thinking, well, even just as a valuable lesson, it's like sometimes too much variety distorts the system, like it's almost like trying your best to simplify and even getting creative ways of making the foods that you like to eat from a simple fashion. Yeah. And it's like, that's the easiest, most repeatable way.
Yeah, and it's the pendulum swing thing, right? Like, we went into if it fits your macros, bro, stop eating like a bro diet, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And the first 6 months you do that, it's like, how much shit food can I fit in my diet? And then you realize you're actually more obsessed with food than what you were previously, because every meal you have to think about the macro split of that meal to make it fit. And then how do I fit that? And it's
how does that affect your food reward system? Yeah, your brain chemistry and stuff. It's like every meal has to be a party now. And correct. You're always like craving sweet, salty, fatty foods. It's like that has its fucking effect on you as well for some people.
Whereas if you can reverse that, and it's not. What you're describing there isn't restriction. You didn't wake up and go, chocolate's bad for me. Yeah. You woke up and went, chocolate isn't really serving me. These foods are really easy to prepare. They're not fucking over the top exciting in terms of eating them. They're also not shit. Yeah. And I feel pretty good when I
make them. You make them in a way that you like to eat them.
And that's it. I'd put enough barbecue sauce on it that I enjoy it. And then it's like fucking good to go. Yeah. And then, even coming back to the fortified food thing, it's like, the people that lean hard, like food that rots and like the whole food thing, it's like grab a handful of cashews. Yeah. Okay, well, you just had 600 calories. Yeah. And I had 200.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we'll get out of the shower and put fucking deodorant on.
Yeah.
But has to worry about the fucking shit in your food. It's like, okay, bro. Or they'll like, smash a fucking 10-pack of pingers over a long weekend with their mates, and it's like, what?
Limiting exposure, maybe.
Oh yeah, I just got this gear from a random guy out of the car park at the gym.
Yeah, that came from a bathtub.
Watch that processed food, bro.
Yeah. So look, it's I think, like you said, it is dependent on the outcome that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
Which for me is the top priority for me is mental performance.
Yeah.
That is what dictates how I train and what dictates how I eat. It dictates, there is obviously a vanity element to how I look as well. Like that is something that I am invested in. And potentially we'll look at the photo shoot later in the year just to kind of drive in on that, depending on how life looks. But yeah, like that